Hi, it's Jackleen. Happy Capricorn full moon or almost full moon. I'm recording this on the 9th, Wednesday, and the full moon is on Thursday the 10th at 1:37 Pacific. And this is the trying not to cry at work full moon, otherwise Capricorn moon, Cancer sun. It would be the same if the dynamic were switched Cancer sun, Cancer moon, Capricorn sun, because never the twain shall meet, but they do. They do, right? We want to be at home when we're at work, or maybe vice versa sometimes, right? Or we have emotions while we're trying to strive. Capricorn is the sign of striving, ambition, career, work, goals. And then Cancer over here is the sign of home, family, emotions, all that kind of good stuff. And so the two do meet, and sometimes the results are not fabulous. So just so you know that those are the areas that you might have some concerns during this full moon. Um, the Sabian symbol for this full moon, at 19 degrees Capricorn, is a hidden choir singing. So it's kind of like that hidden spirituality, that where we find spirituality, again, Cancer, the emotions, the intuition, that spiritual connection in the mundane and sort of work world. And so we'll find that in this full moon. We'll find ugliness and beauty and ugliness. We'll see the contradictions. We will come together with people that we've had disagreements with. We'll have disagreements with people that we've come together with. So there's going to be a lot of this push and pull. If you're one of these people like me that are very sensitive around the full moon, and if you have a partner, which I do, that is also very sensitive around the full moon, put out the fair warning, center yourself, and hope for the best. But I'll tell you how to work with this one. This is actually a lucky one. This one, other than that opposition from the sun and the moon opposition that occurs in every full moon, there are relatively few challenging aspects. And those that are challenging are to Jupiter. So yay, everything, Jupiter usually blesses whatever it touches, no matter how it touches it, right? So we have some squares to Jupiter. What they suggest to me is change. There's a lot of change going on in the world. And I'm sure I don't have to be the one that breaks that to you, but there's a lot of change going on in the world. And there's some reversals that are coming up too. Changes of opinion, changes of faith, changes of belief, a lot of that coming up. You're going to be there for a moment in someone else's life this week where there's a big moment of change or realization, most likely, right? You're going to be there when someone does the stupidest thing they've ever done, or does something that affects you in a way that maybe is a little unproportional to what it really is. So notice those things, those unproportional reactions. That we get that a lot with the Capricorn Cancer opposition. So just realize that push and pull comes from there. Yes, there's more tension around the full moon. Yes, this isn't the worst one. In fact, last new moon was kind of more hectic than this, believe it or not. We had more weird stuff going on at the last new moon than this full moon. And generally it's the opposite. The new moon is generally a little bit more restful. So I would say get as much rest as you can, meditate as much as you can, stay home when you feel like staying home, unless you've got to challenge yourself, because there's that other side with the Capricorn moon. It really wants you to challenge yourself. But Jupiter says to go do the uncomfortable thing when you feel right intuitively about it, when you have made a studied decision logically, or you just, or hopefully, or you just feel it intuitively. Relationships will change during this time one way or another. So if you want to make changes in your relationships for the better, I would definitely suggest getting those in place so that the changes aren't sort of forced on you from the other party or from outside. So just think about what is it that you want to change in the way that you're interacting in your relationship, the things that you do, or the way that you receive in the relationship, the way that you receive, for example, I don't say criticism, but complaint, things like that. How do you process that? You're gonna have the opportunity to look at a lot of things that maybe, it's not a big deal. It just felt like it in the moment. So just take a few breaths, step back. You might be called on the particularly because I'm preaching to the choir here again, that Sabian symbol of the choir, the hidden choir. So much work going into this performance, yet the choir isn't really seen, and it has the effect of that spiritual kind of revelation. However you experience that. So there will be these spiritual revelations. There will be these intuitive perfect hits, these moments where you know what needs to be done. Don't discount that. Listen to it. Listen to your gut feeling. There's a lot of self-doubt. I talked a little bit because this is a longer term transit between Neptune and Saturn right now. Saturn, Neptune, a little bit too close for comfort. Neptune is our intuition. Neptune um, is what we feel intuitively, spiritually, what we know to be true. But do we doubt that? Do we second guess that? That's where Saturn comes in. How can we work with Saturn? If we have routine, that's the best way to go about structuring our time right now. 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off, like the Pomodoro technique. That's a very useful one right now because Saturn likes us to work with time. If we have rituals such as meditation, prayer, whatever your ritual is that is spiritual, maybe it is singing. Maybe it is singing in the choir. Maybe it's a yoga class or group meditation. Those are especially favored right now too. So whatever it is, church, art, it doesn't matter. Walking in nature, all of that right now, all of that. Use these things to kind of bring you down. People will be a little bit erratic around a full moon. And some of this carries over into the next couple of weeks because people won't know what hit them emotionally. They'll be wanting to get the product out or get the sale or whatever, and then the emotion will come in. So be there to comfort those people who don't know what hit them because they're not watching this, right? So what else do I have to say about this one? I just kind of like how everything is coming together. That's, I've been saying that for a while. People that have been estranged from each other in families, people who've had different religious, political, or whatever opinions, beliefs that have kept them away from other people. There's a little bit of a shift. It's starting to knit up a little bit more. So you may see that in your family. You may feel like reaching out to someone that you've been estranged with, and you feel like, okay, I can say what I did in the situation. So there'll be a little bit of that. I think that's a really good one. I would be remiss if I did not mention that the same day on the 10th, when we have the full moon, we are also going into the Mercury retrograde storm, which Mercury goes retro. I believe it's on the 17th and then stays there until the 11th. And then we give it another week to get out of that storm period. So I'll be talking more about that, but just know when Mercury is retrograde, I am not a Mercury retrograde alarmist. You can still do stuff. I would not do things during a void moon for the most part if I could help it. If you are on my Patreon, you'll know when the void of course moons are. You can get an astrological calendar. This is one of the reasons I'm saying I've delayed this video because wow, we've had lots of long void of course time periods. Nobody wants to get surgery 2.0. Nobody wants to get haircut and color 2.0, right? You want to get it done right the first time. Don't do it during a void of course moon, and particularly during a Mercury retrograde void of course moon. Okay, so know where the moon is. That's always a good thing. Know the phase it's in. Once we hit 137, the moon goes void of course, by the way, so just chill. Void of course moons are great for housework. They're great for mindless tasks, things you've already planned out, things are already in progress. Not good for signing things or getting anything major done to your appearance or body or anything like that. Any major commitments, agreements, marriages, probably not during a void of course. Probably not during a Mercury retrograde if you can help that, the marriage part. But, if you can't, that's okay. The other aspects can be good. So we can talk about that if you want to talk about that. But what was I saying here? Oh, yeah, this is a good one. This is a harmonious one, believe it or not. Even though we've got that little bit of back and forth with trying not to cry at work. So what if you cry at work? Maybe you form a connection with someone that you wouldn't have formed a connection with, or someone cries at work and you put your hand on their shoulder and everything's cool and you've got a new friend, or there's a bridge built when there was previously difficulty. So be very sensitive to other people's concerns right now. Again, this is kind of an emo moon when people are really striving for one thing and they're getting another. So you're going to see that across the board. But generally, at the end of the day, this is a good one. Release, reduce, declutter, clean, organize, those kind of things complete, right, over the next 2 weeks before the next new moon. So I've probably left something out, so I will write something or post something on Patreon, Facebook, or Instagram, wherever you find me. I will make a point to let you know anything that I might have missed, but overall, go out there, have fun, good luck, stretch a little bit, reduce, declutter, and lighten up. Don't take everything too seriously, and be sensitive to other people's weirdness right now, because it's definitely going to be there. So happy full moon. Try not to cry at work. Bye-bye.